Welcome to the college football show. This time it is not just me. Who am I here with?
Caden Wrighster.
And this is one of the top 8th grade quarterbacks in all the nation joining me on the show today. And we're going to talk some, what are we talking today?
College football.
And so, Caden, your dad covers college football. And I'm George Wrighster, former NFL player, former college football player, college football analyst over at CW. So we got a lot to talk about today. So my question to you, first of all, is, Caden, who knows more about college football, me or you?
You.
Who, who generally just knows more about football than you?
You.
Okay, so when we're picking games, and we're going to pick them against the spread, who's going to do better, me or you?
Me.
These damn kids, man, they think they know everything. And we have been in a debate for a while about what's going on with a guy that you like, with Mr. Ryan Williams. He has been trying to tell me for a matter of weeks that Ryan Williams, wide receiver, and this is how you know that TikTok clicks and all of this stuff matters and why they think that. So go ahead, tell the people what you said.
I think Ryan Williams had a better season than Jeremiah Smith, and he's better than Jeremiah Smith.
Yes, the Ohio State Jeremiah Smith, the guy that'll probably be the first pick, if the draft was last year, maybe even this year and everything else, if he were able to come out. Why do you believe this, Caden?
It's just like I don't think, it's
because you see his highlights on social media more, right?
Yeah, that is true.
See, exactly. That's the thing. And then he had the nerve to tell me. Tell him the second thing you just told me yesterday.
Wait, what'd I say?
About Carnell Tate, the other Ohio State wide receiver.
What?
You said he's better than Jeremiah Smith too.
Bro, he is. No, that's a fact. That's a fact for sure.
You think he's better? Well, no. What you were actually saying, what the video that he sent me. So he sent me a video as proof of his point, and the video said what?
What did it say? I forgot.
Oh, what? It basically said that Carnell Tate is more technical and a better wide receiver than Jeremiah Smith. And I'm supposed to believe that this is true. I'm asking, I'm supposed to believe that this is true?
Yes.
Okay, whatever. All right, so anyways, we got a bunch of games to talk about today. And do you know who just got fired this last week? Well, yesterday.
No.
Or 2 days ago.
No.
James Franklin, Penn State's head coach.
Oh.
He just got fired. They were number 2 in the nation to start the season. They're 3-3. They even lost to UCLA. Do you think he should have been fired?
Absolutely.
What? They also had to pay him $50 million.
UCLA sucks. There's no reason why they should have lost them.
UCLA has now won multiple games in a row. They beat Penn State. They came back and they beat Michigan State this week, and they beat them like a drum. They're on a roll right now, buddy. They're on a roll right now, just so you know. Just so you know. Anyways, so and we love UCLA because that is a place you might go. But anyways, before we get into the games, I want to talk about the James Franklin thing for a second because he's got offset language in his contract. And the offset language in James Franklin's contract this is all about pride. Because the offset language in his contract is basically saying that he's supposed to find another job, and that his thing is that he's supposed to find another job, that he's required to look for another job, whether it is in college football or it is in coaching. So my thing is, how is he supposed to prove that he's looking for another job? How? I mean, it's like Penn State assumes that he wants to coach again instead of just collecting $50 million from them. This is like having a baby mama or an ex-wife, and she gets a huge settlement contingent upon her getting a new man. And so in your mind, you're like, I believe at some point in time she wants to get a new man, then I can stop paying her and somebody else can start paying her, right? Or She's like, nah, I'm just going to throw this in your face. So it's the same thing just like that. That you assume he wants a new job, or he might just be like, let me just kick up my feet and keep collecting this Penn State money until this is over, and then I'll get back into coaching. So I think it is a bad deal, but, anyways. And there's a lot of people who've also pushed back. James Franklin, George, how could you say he should have been fired? I was like, the gate is narrow to find a better coach. Is there a way to find a coach that could possibly win you a national championship? Yes. Did James Franklin fail in terms of being 4-22 in top 10 games and all 100%? No doubt about that. But at the same time, we cannot ignore the fact that this man was good at his job in terms of he won 13 games, 11 games, and 10 games in the last 3 years. That cannot be ignored. But anyways, though, let's get to the games this weekend. And you guys can always hop in the chat, give a friend a like, a subscribe, tell a friend about the show, and keep it going on, and we will get to your comments. And first game up, we got Ole Miss at Georgia. So Georgia's 5-1. Do you know who Georgia lost to this year?
No, I forgot.
Alabama.
Oh,
yeah, that was their lone loss this year. Ole Miss is 6-0. We got Gunnar Stockton versus Trinidad Chambers as the quarterbacks. Georgia opened up 7.5-point favorites. Oh, sorry. It opened at 6.5. Georgia's now a 7.5-point favorite. We're talking Kirby Smart versus Lane Kiffin. Lane Kiffin just called Kirby Smart fat, dude. He called him fat in a press conference. So this is notable information. Georgia's won multiple national championships. They don't look quite as good this year on defense and everything, but this is still a very formidable team. So my question to you is, Georgia is favored by 7.5 points in this football game. They are playing at home between the hedges. Who you got? Oh, well, actually, first of all, we're picking these games against the spread. So, do you know what against the spread means?
No. What is it?
Okay, so I know most of you watching know, but Georgia's favored by 7.5 points. So this means that Georgia has to win. If you pick Georgia, they essentially have to win by 8 points or more.
All right.
But if you pick Ole Miss can still lose the game. They just got to lose the game by less than 8 points.
I got Ole Miss.
You think Ole Miss is going to win this football game? Ole Miss damn near lost to Washington. I know you can't use the transitive property in college football, but Ole Miss did not win this. Ole Miss barely beat Washington State this week, assuming that they will play better and be more up for this game. Who are you picking?
Ole Miss.
You picking Ole Miss in this game? I did not pick Ole Miss to make the playoffs, but I do not trust Lane Kiffin once he starts talking too much. I'm going to take Georgia to win this game, but I believe that Ole Miss will cover because I don't think Georgia can get far enough in front of them. Their offense has not been dynamic enough this year. I'm going to take Ole Miss plus 7.5. This feels good to me. Katie, you're off to a good start if you're agreeing with me. Just so you know. Because, always Wrighster, never wrong. All right, the next game that we got to talk about my Oregon Ducks. I went up to Indiana last week, thankful that he did not have a game last week so I could get up to the game. And then I went and my Ducks lost. So thanks for being bad luck, son. So Oregon is 17.5-point favorites. They go on the road to Rutgers, and Rutgers is 3-3. They just lost to Washington 38-19. So they lost to Washington by 19 points. And Dante Moore last week struggled versus Indiana. Did not have his best game. Oregon got knocked off at home, which don't really happen at Alton Stadium. Will they bounce back, or will they fall victim to the Scarlet Knights and Athens Calamacanis?
No. I got Oregon.
And 17.5 points? Remember, Washington just beat them by 19. But here's another piece of information that you need to know, is that when it comes to Big Ten programs, when they have to travel more than 2 time zones, their record is awful. Awful.
It's more than 2 time zones?
Yes. Yeah. Oh, you have no idea where Rutgers is, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Rutgers is in New Jersey.
Oh.
Do you know where New Jersey is?
Yes.
Yes, that's 3 time zones away.
Nah, I think Oregon can still pull it out.
17.5? You're oh, never mind. What?
Yeah, I think they can.
You are 100% right. This kid is smart. So 17.5 points. I'm taking Oregon too because I believe that this is a bounce back game for them. Dan Lanning came out in the meetings and in the media and said they need to run the football more. So you know that Jordan Davidson, Noah Whittington, the rest of the crew are going to get a lot more carries. But also the thing that Indiana did, they played zone coverage similar to what Ohio State did in the playoff game, and they absolutely stoned Oregon's pass game. So I would assume Rutgers will try to do some of the same things to keep the Ducks dynamic wide receivers. Can you name any of Oregon's wide receivers?
DeCorian Moore.
Of course he can, because he's on social media and he's and you can name one that's out too, because he's TikTok famous too.
Who is it?
Evan.
Oh, Evan Stewart?
Yeah, of course. See, look, they know all the TikTokers. See, so this is what I'm telling you. This is why you got to get on TikTok, son, because these kids are getting marketing deals, and the reason why they're so why you know them is not even from. I would imagine Evan Stewart shows up in your feed, don't he?
Yeah, sometimes.
He ain't played this year. He ain't played a game. He played a game since before the Rose Bowl, bro. He didn't even play in the Rose Bowl, but he's still showing up in your feed. So he out there making that bread with millions of followers, and he's really good at football. I'm just saying, these things matter. I be trying to preach to the children. Next game up, we got Tennessee, number 11 Tennessee, at number 6 Alabama. Now, this game opened up Alabama 8.5 point favorites. This game is in Alabama. Do you know what the winners of this game do?
Smoke cigars.
Smoke cigars, right? Okay. So, first of all, if you were playing in this game, would you be smoking a cigar, son?
If I was in college, yeah.
You'd be smoking a cigar? What? In front of your dad?
Why would you be in the locker room, though?
Because I'm a locker room kind of dad.
Yeah, I would. Yeah.
That would be okay in this circumstance. In this circumstance, see, I'm glad. See, look, way to stand on your own business, son. I love it. And he has my other son's shirt on because that's where his brother plays college football. But okay, so Alabama is now 8.5 point favorites. It opened up at 7.5 points. Excuse me. This game's at 4:30 p.m. Pacific, 7:30 Eastern on ABC, and this is where we see the SEC machine at work all day long on ABC because they got 2 top 10 games. Even though they probably shouldn't have that because the SEC bias and and because we are honesty brokers here on the show. It's not that the teams aren't good, but 10 SEC teams ranked right now. What are we doing? So we got Kalen DeBoer. He used to be Washington's head coach when they went to the national championship when they played against Michigan and lost, and then he went over to Alabama. And they are playing against Josh Heupel over at Tennessee. Who was Tennessee's quarterback last year?
Nico Iamaleava.
E.A. Maliava, man. E.A. Maliava. And so you know Nico, right?
Yeah.
And so, so there have been a lot of people who've been slandering Nico because UCLA wasn't having a real good season to a start. And the last 2 weeks after they beat Penn State, they went and clobbered Michigan State. What do you think those people are saying?
He's good.
Yep. Or what?
Or they're like lucky games.
Not a damn thing is what they over there saying. And this is one of the things that I talked to him about playing quarterback, because he plays quarterback as well, is people are going to talk and the noise is going to noise. And they were like that Joey Aguilar, the kid who transferred from Appalachian State to UCLA and then to Tennessee. Oh, he's so much better. Nico's stupid and this. He don't look so silly right now. Because adversity matters, man. You got to be able to fight through it, and you got to be able to power through it and everything else. And this is the case where all of the noise surround Kalen DeBoer and his hot seat, it is absolutely cooled. It is absolutely cooled. And we will get to all of the breakdowns of the games in just a minute, but we are going to finish picking these games with Mr. Caden Wrighster. So Tennessee at Alabama. Tennessee is 5-1. Their only loss is to Georgia on a last-second field goal after their kicker botched the kick, and then they went into overtime. Georgia ended up winning. Alabama's only loss is to Florida State, who's now 3-3 because they have lost 3 consecutive games. And I told y'all Florida State wasn't that good. Who are you picking? Yeah, so Alabama's 8.5-point favorites. I will tell you, Tennessee took Georgia to overtime. It was like 40-something to 40-something, like 44-41 maybe. Or 46-41, I think Georgia won. So there's a lot of points scored.
I think I got Alabama.
You think you got Alabama? I am picking the upset city in this game because I said Alabama was not going to make the college football playoff. They already dropped the game to Florida State, so they got to lose this one too. They hate to be the bearer of bad news, Alabama fans. All right, the next game up that we got to talk about, Mr. Caden Wrighster, is the Holy War. Do you know what the Holy War is?
No.
It's the name of a game. So it's like the Iron Bowl, which is Alabama-Auburn. The big game, which is Ohio State, Michigan. There is the Red River Rivalry, which was last week with Texas and Oklahoma. Like all these games, like the old Oak and Bucket and all these games, right? So the Holy War is between Utah and BYU. And they call it the Holy War because BYU is a religious school, and then there's a lot of religious people at Utah too. It's not a religious school, but Utah's a very Mormon-heavy state, and so that's why they call it that. All right, so Utah is they're not undefeated. Their lone loss is to the team that Cody Campbell bought over there at Texas Tech. The well-funded Texas Tech Red Raiders versus Utah. Utah, their lone loss, was to Texas Tech. And then BYU is undefeated right now. Now, mind you, they have not played the type of schedule that everybody is giving a whole lot of credit to. But nonetheless, they are where they are. They have beaten Portland State, Stanford, East Carolina, Colorado, West Virginia, and Arizona, so no ranked teams. This is their first ranked opponent, and they still have Cincinnati, Iowa State, and Texas Tech on the schedule, so they have some good games left. Who are you picking in this game? And remember, this game is – where is this game at? This game is at BYU, so it's in Provo and not at the Muss in front of the mighty Utah student section. And mind you, Utah's coach Kyle Whittingham, his dad coached at Utah, right? He's a legend there. He went to BYU and played football at BYU. So this game's a big game to him. And this game's a big game in the state. Like, this is huge. So, with all of that said, who you got?
BYU. I got BYU.
You picking BYU? Wrong. Come on, son. 3.5 points. I'm taking the Utah Utes to beat BYU in BYU. You know who BYU's quarterback is? Yeah.
No.
Bear Bachmeyer. Have you heard that name?
No.
He's from here. He wears number 47.
I've seen that, but I haven't heard his name.
Oh yeah, and his brother's name is Tiger. So what do you think his sister's name is?
What?
Yes. If his name is Bear, his sister's name is. I mean, his brother's name is Tiger. What's his sister's name?
What is it?
Yes.
It could be anything.
Okay, so guess.
The Lion.
I don't even know if he has a sister, man. I'm just over here talking. All right. The last game that we're going to have Caden talk about is USC Notre Dame. This game is in Notre Dame. Number 20. USC fans are like, see, it's our time. We're finally ranked. They are 5-1. They're playing good football. I did not expect them to be 5-1 right now. I expected them to be 4-2 with that Michigan victory because the beginning of the schedule slate wasn't exactly tough because they had Missouri State, Georgia Southern, Purdue, Michigan State. Then they lost to Illinois. So you expected them to be 4-1 to start the season. Then I thought the Michigan slate would do it. But now they play Notre Dame, Jeremiah Love, C.J. Carr. They're playing really well after they lost their 2 games to after Notre Dame lost their 2 games to Miami by 3 points and Texas A&M by 1 point on the very last play of the game, even though 2 players were holding Notre Dame players. So, in this game, USC, who travels out there, is a 8.5 point underdog, bro. 8.5 points. That's not very respectful. I'm going to tell you that. That means that they believe that they're going to lose by over a touchdown. Over a touchdown. USC just lost one of their running backs, Eli Sanders. He's out. And now it looks like King Miller is going to be the lead back over there. And Jaden Maivia is playing really good football, but he reverted back to his bad interception ways. Last week, he threw a bad interception against Michigan, which kind of kept Michigan in the game a little bit longer than they needed to be. And then you got Notre Dame, who ever since those first 2 losses to end the season has been knocking people's heads off. Purdue 56-30, Arkansas 56-13. Boise, they got in a struggle fest 28-7, and then NC State last week 36-7. They are not playing around. That defense has gotten real stiffy, buddy. So, Notre Dame 8.5 point favorites. Who you got?
I got Notre Dame.
8.5 points?
Yeah.
Son, I'm going to tend to agree with you, son, because this is a 2 time zone travel, and Notre Dame's level of physicality, I believe, is like they are Michigan except for better. They play better defense. They're further along than Michigan has. Their quarterback, C.J. Carr, is a redshirt freshman. The kid is dynamic. I am enjoying watching this kid play football, and it's good. So I am going to take the Fighting Irish to cover in this football game, and this is one of them 4:30 Pacific kicks as well. So this is going to conflict with some of them ABC college football games, and then 7:30 Eastern on NBC. And Notre Dame has won 6 of the last 7 and 2 of the last 3 in terms of Marcus Freeman versus Lincoln Riley. Caden, are you ready to? Do you want to stay on the show, or are you ready to get up out of here?
I'm ready to leave.
All right. Well, thank you for joining me today, son, and goodbye. All right. Take a chair with you. Let's get down to business. Get the young children out of here. We not playing around no more. Let's get back to business. All right. So we're gonna go backwards a little bit so we can talk even more about this. And y'all let me know how y'all feel about the comment. I'm sorry, how y'all feel about the format, whatever, because I thought it was fun. And he was out of school today, so we do our thing together. Some sometimes, so y'all can always hop in the comments and everything else. All right, so let's go backwards for a second. Let's get back to. Actually, we'll go forward to go backwards. Let's go over to that LSU game, that LSU versus Vanderbilt game. This game I am highly excited about because there's a lot of people that fully believe in Vanderbilt right now. Vanderbilt believes in Vanderbilt, but I don't know how deep that this goes, right? Because this team is good, but it has not been proven special at this point in time. So I want to see what is going on with this team. So Vanderbilt is 5-1. LSU is 5-1. Vanderbilt's only loss came to Alabama, and LSU's loss, obviously, their defense has been questionable, and people have even been wondering if Garrett Nussmeier should be benched. This is a 9 a.m. kick on ABC Pacific, noon Eastern time, and Vandy is favored in this game by 2.5 points. And Vandy being favored against a ranked opponent, it is absolutely wild. It is absolutely wild. Now, here's the thing about Vanderbilt. They are very deliberate and toward the bottom of the country in terms of total plays run, but they're fifth in yards per play, and then they're first in the country in yards per carry, despite Diego Pavia bringing that yards per carry average up. Oh no, excuse me. He's bringing the yards per carry average down. I'm mistaken. With his 5.9 yards per carry, and they're 6.6 on the season. And Pavia is leading Vanderbilt in passing and total rushing, and he's still probably a Heisman contender at this point. But it is going to take winning games like this. And Vanderbilt, they have not won a game. Well, excuse me, they have not won this game against LSU since 1990. So this is one of them games that's like that Alabama game last year. They hadn't beat Alabama in 40 years. They haven't beat LSU in what, 36 years. And LSU has won 10 in a row, including one score. I'm talking about at LSU. And LSU's offense, they have been absolutely dog water. Because Nussmeier is coming off a 4,000-yard season, and he's on pace for 2,800 yards, 18 touchdowns, and 10 picks in the regular season this year. Their running back, Caden Durham, 4.2 yards per carry. It's deceptive because he was bottled up against their bad competition and was actually good versus Clemson and against Florida and against South Carolina. I mean, are they good? Is either one of them teams good right now? We would say. But the surprise star for LSU has been their sophomore DB, Tamarcus Cooley. Big interceptions against Florida and then against South Carolina. But in this game, I want to pick Vanderbilt. I want to pick Vanderbilt in this game, but it is hard, right? It's hard when we look at this team and we're looking at their absolute history. But I am going to give Vanderbilt a chance as a 2.5 point favorite. I believe Vegas could be right about this, and things are teetering at LSU. It's crazy because they are 5-1, and it feels like they're 2-3 right now in terms of the negative energy surrounding this program, surrounding their quarterback, and everything else. So you got to pay attention and be careful about that. But now, we also I want to go back to this Ole Miss and Georgia game. Number 5 Ole Miss at number 9 Georgia. So Ole Miss is 6-0 coming into this game. Georgia is 5-1. The Bulldogs opened up at 6.5 point favorites, now 7.5 point favorites. Game day is in Athens, so it is a big game. 12:30 Pacific, 3:30 Eastern time on ABC. And Ole Miss won this game 24-10 last year, and then Georgia won 52-17 in 2023. So this game could really either go each way. And we got the two coaches, Lane Kiffin versus Kirby Smart. Kiffin is 6-0 for the second in time in his career. The only other time that he did it was with Ole Miss in 2022. Now, if I'm Lane Kiffin this week, I hand my phone to an assistant coach, keep myself from posting gifs about Kirby Smart, calling a timeout against Auburn, and then lying about it. Talking about it was clapping. No, don't do it. Don't do it, Lane. And you know that there's a little devil on his shoulder telling him to post a mixtape of Rasheed Wallace getting teed up, 50 plus time with the caption talking about, look at the refs. I was calling timeout. Or a video of Elmo saying that to say Sesame Street is brought to you by the letter clap. But Kirby Smart, he's right now the king of college football. And you have to believe that Kirby Smart is smart enough to ignore the lesser angels and not poke the bear headed into a top 10 game, right? Nope. Because Kirby Smart is where Lane Kiffin wants to be. 110 and 20 overall in his coaching career. And truthfully, if it hadn't been for COVID cancellations, working on his ninth straight double-digit win season. This man has at least 7 games left in this season and is still averaging 11 wins per year over his first 10 years in Athens. Now, Kirby Smart is the model of competitive consistency. And in order to be mentioned in the same light as Kirby Smart, you have to beat Kirby Smart. And that's exactly what Lane Kiffin did. Last year in a 24-10 dominant victory, that could have been a whole lot worse if the Rebels didn't have to settle for 4 red zone field goals. But Kiffin doesn't have the elite defensive line that he had last year. And Georgia's quarterback is a little more mobile than Carson Beck was last year. But Ole Miss has their own secret weapon at quarterback. So let's get into it. We got to get to quarterback versus quarterback. We got Trinidad Chambliss versus Gunnar Stockton. Now, Trinidad Chambliss now is 85 for 130, 7 touchdowns and 1 interception, and he has 261 rushing yards. And Chambliss only interception, it actually hit the wide receiver Deuce Alexander in both hands. And then last week against Washington State, it was the only team to hold Chambliss under 300 yards, and they bottled him up in the run game. Now, his story is crazy because he was one of the COVID seniors in Michigan out of Forest Hills North. And then he was a basketball star, regularly dropping 20 points, sometimes 30. And he ran somewhere in between a 4.5 and a 4.4 40. And then his recruiting attention was more of an athlete. Then he landed at Ferris State, didn't play full-time quarterback till 2024. Then he led Ferris State to the D2 Natty with 5 total touchdowns against Valdosta State. Now think about that. This week last year, Chambliss was playing against Michigan Tech in front of a crowd of 4,700 people, and the Ole Miss student section alone has over 10,000 people. But this is, you could call it just a cute story, or you can say, can Chambliss win at the highest level? Because his production, it absolutely says yes. And if we're being honest, his film doesn't look all that different from Johnny Manziel back in 2012. The size, speed, the improvisation. But Manziel mania actually started when A&M beat 9-0 Alabama. And while Georgia in Athens isn't that type of, hype accelerant because Georgia is not undefeated right now, a win with College game day in attendance, it could launch his name into the postseason award contention as a possible Heisman candidate and give some serious buzz ahead of next week's game against Oklahoma and John Mateer. Now, Georgia's quarterback, Gunnar Stockton, he's on the other end of things. He's a former 5-star trying to meet all the expectations, and he deserves some praise, and actually more praise than he's getting, because he beat Tennessee on the road and made a clutch throw to Noah Thomas in the third quarter against Auburn to get the Bulldogs back into that game. And he runs Mike Bobo's offense well. The kid is patient, he is tough, he is composed. But the question is, can he take over a game? Because at Georgia, the thing is, you don't have to usually do that. But only getting past 20 pass attempts against Alabama, it actually gives off the feeling that the staff doesn't trust putting the game in Stockton's hands. Now let's look at Ole Miss's offense versus Georgia's defense, because this is an interesting matchup for Kirby Smart, because he has not faced a quarterback this mobile in a very long time. Now, even in the 2022 SEC Championship, Jaden Daniels was playing on a bum ankle and wasn't even a running threat. And you can say that Jackson Dart is mobile over there. when he was over there at Ole Miss. But compared to some of the other guys that Georgia has played against this year, yeah, that's true. But Arnold doesn't accelerate like Chambliss does at all. Now, it is going to be very, very interesting to see how this group of linebackers who have, the top six spots in Georgia's tackle for loss leaderboard, how they're going to deal with this kid's speed. And I'm almost certainly going to be watching for CJ Allen, who absolutely dominated against Auburn. Now, last year, Ole Miss succeeded. They succeeded against Georgia's defense because they attacked the middle of the field and they were connecting on 8-yard dump off passes to the running backs. And the O line gave Jackson Dart and Austin Simmons a clean pocket to work from. And then the Rebels, they moved the ball well. And then they just turtled up in the red zone. Now, this is almost an entirely new roster at the skill position spot for Ole Miss. But wide receiver Jaden Lee, he actually played well against the Bulldogs last year. And I actually helped expect this kid to be a factor in this game as well. Now, on the other side of things, we got to look at Georgia's offense versus Ole Miss's defense. Now, Mike Bobo, he is absolutely a controversial factor in Athens. And this game matters a whole lot to people that have been in his corner because Gunnar Stockton told a reporter this week, we never quit and we're hard to put away. And that's honestly the best part about this offense. But that quote is not going to comfort Bulldog fans at all because they don't want a gritty offense that just, that tests DB tackling ability with passes behind the line of scrimmage and they want air yards. They want dynamic. They want big plays. They want fireworks. They don't want a struggle bust that they got to sit on their hands and feel like they're in an Iowa game. That is boring. Super boring. And their offensive coordinator, Mike Bobo, he has to put something, palatable together this week because Ole Miss has not been all that good on defense this year. They've been good enough to be undefeated for sure, but that schedule ain't exactly daunting. Because the Rebels defense has given up twice the rushing that it did in 2024. And they let Washington State roster that is filled with guys that were at, North Dakota State and other FCS programs last year complete 77% of their passes. Now, to be fair, the Ole Miss defense didn't smush LSU's face into the carpet, but that's not an offense that has looked functional at any point in time this year. Now, Ole Miss won last year's game. They were tipping passes, pressuring Carson Beck, and this year they're going to have to make sure that them corners can come up and tackle Zachariah Branch and Kobe Young at the wide receiver position. Now, it is a good thing for Ole Miss that 3 of their top 5 solo tacklers are this year's DB guys like Antonio Kite and are vital to making sure that the Bulldogs don't bubble screen Ole Miss to death. Now, the X factor in this game for both teams, Georgia's offensive line, they've been banged up, especially at the tackle position. And Georgia has played 6 starting offensive line combinations in 6 games. Last week, one of their emerging freshmen, Juan Gaston, he tweaked an ankle. And the guy that he replaced, Monroe Freeling, is coming back from an ankle. And then you got Ernest Green, who's been dealing with back issues. And then you combine that with running back Chauncey Bowers having ankle issues. And Georgia really needs Nate Frazier to step up and carry the literal and figurative load for this team. Now, for Ole Miss, you have to look at last year's result and acknowledge that the kicker is probably going to be a factor. Now, Lane Kiffin went out and got Lucas Carneiro out of Western Kentucky after the season, and that's where he went 18 for 19, and he's already 12 for 14 this year and tied for the 6th most field goals made in the country. So, in this game, I'm looking at this, I'm like, who am I going to pick? Who am I going to pick? Because the line on this game, to remind you people, is Georgia is favored in this game by 7.5 points. I believe that this is going to be a touchdown victory for Georgia. I don't believe Ole Miss's defense is going to be able to keep up, but at the same time, I'm like Georgia's offense. Ole Miss's defense has not been good, but Georgia's offense has been on the absolute struggle bus. So part of me wants to say that Ole Miss is going to keep this game solid, but we shall see. All right, now to go back to The next game that we have to talk about as well, we got to talk about this Tennessee at Alabama game so we can get deeper into it. Tennessee's 5-1 in this game. Alabama's 5-1. Alabama opened up as 8.5 point favorites. Games on ABC, 4:30 Pacific, 7:30 Eastern time. And this is where the full weight of the SEC matchup is going to be doing its work. Games all day long on the network. We got Kalen DeBoer, who is over at Alabama, versus Josh Heupel at Tennessee. And Kalen DeBoer, his seat has cooled considerably after that opening season loss to Florida State. But you just watched James Franklin get the heave ho after a bad 3 game run of one-score losses. So this seat is Kalen DeBoer's seat actually cool? I don't know about that. Nobody feels like they're safe right now. And DeBoer's got the Crimson Tide. He's got them prize and primed up to go undefeated in the SEC. They got a top 6 ranking and a huge opportunity to be in the driver's seat as they go to South Carolina and then host LSU and then Oklahoma. And if they go 4-0 over the next 4 games, DeBoer, he guarantees himself a spot in the SEC championship game. And it is going to make his detractors forget that he has 3 of Alabama's 6 conference losses in the last 6 years. Now, over on the other side, though, has there ever been any doubt that Josh Heupel can call an offense? No, because the Volunteers are currently ranked first in the SEC in points, total yards, passing yards, and they're third in rush yards. But maybe Josh Heupel needs to have a look at this defense because Tim Banks, his unit is absolutely struggling. And Banks has been one of the best assistants in all of college football the last few years. But when you have an offense this good, you cannot even afford to have games like what happened against Georgia. Because a win in this game would absolutely put Tennessee inside the AP top 10 for the 4th consecutive season. That's something that has only happened once from 2007 to 2022. And we might be in the golden era of Tennessee football right now. But let's look at these quarterbacks. We got Joey Aguilar over there at Tennessee. Almost 1,700 yards, 14 touchdowns, 5 picks. Only sacked 3 times in the last 4 games. And Tennessee's last 2 games, they have absolutely been nail biters. And Aguilar did his job on both occasions. He had 28 rushing yards that were basically the final nail in the coffin against Arkansas that ended the Razorbacks' comeback, even though their fans are like, why was it this close to begin with? They don't even have a head coach. Sam Pittman got fired. And against Mississippi State, he was 7 for 9 for 67 yards with the game-tying touchdown in the 4th quarter. Why are you playing that close with Arkansas and Mississippi State is the question. That Tennessee fans want to know because it is the defense. Now, a win over Alabama would actually potentially put Joey Aguilar ahead of Ty Simpson in the Heisman conversation, which is an insane thing to think about when you know what I know, that UCLA was scared to death about going into the season with him in 2025 with a 24-year-old Aguilar at the helm. Now, it didn't work out for UCLA to start the season, but it's working out for him now. Now, on Alabama side, you got Ty Simpson. Almost 1,700 yards as well, 16 touchdowns, 1 interception, and he came out on fire versus Missouri last week. Kid led 3 scoring drives in 22 minutes, looked a lot more human once Missouri's pass rush got home. He took 4 sacks. And, his throw on the 4th and 8 to get Alabama in the red zone and actually set up the game sealing touchdown was the type of throw that you see in Heisman reels. And he can't let Tennessee's defense get healthy against him. He must step on the throat to seize the clear Heisman lead. Now let's look at this Tennessee offense versus the Alabama defense. The Vols have scored 37 touchdowns and are getting awesome play out of their 6'5" wide receiver Chris Brazzell, 17 yards per catch, 7 touchdowns. And then Deshaun Bishop at running back leads the Vols almost 500 yards and 7.6 yards per carry. He is absolutely balling. And Tennessee thrives off tempo. So this is going to push Alabama to the max. And it's going to be interesting to see if Alabama uses Dijon Lee at cornerback against Brazzell, because Lee is 6'4", and he played more snaps than their starter, Damani Jackson, versus Missouri, which there may be a change happening there. And then he had the game clinching with his first career interception. And turnovers will be huge in this game. Alabama is +9 in turnovers this season, while Tennessee is +2. Now, this Alabama offense led by Kalen DeBoer versus Tennessee's defense. Alabama's vertical passing game is starting to look like 2023 Washington's, and that is absolutely scary, especially if you're a Tennessee fan who watched their defense give up 364 passing yards to Jalen Kitna at UAB a couple weeks ago. And it wasn't like the Vols were getting torn up by uh, by a UAB wide receiver, because he had over 79 yards and 7 players had at least 3 receptions. And if you're Alabama and you're looking at this defense, you tell your tight end Joshua Cuevas or number 3 Isaiah Horton, hey son, you need to get ready to shine. This is your opportunity here. And there is one thing that Missouri was able to do, is that they were able to momentarily slow Ty Simpson down with their pass rush. So in this game, Tennessee is going to need Joshua Josephs to get home, and he can do it. This is a guy that already has forced 3 fumbles this year. Now let's get to the X factor. I believe that Tennessee tight end Miles Kittleman, that he might actually be the key to solving Alabama's stingy pass defense. First of all, he's a former Alabama player who left when Saban retired. So you know he's motivated to show out on the road in his old stomping grounds. And he had a season high in catches and yards last week and scored a touchdown. But I bring up Kisselman to illustrate the real X factor is Alabama's pass defense under Kane Womack. Now, he was much maligned against Florida State. Oh, he should be fired, everything else. No, because the Crimson Tide are only giving up 6.2 yards per attempt on the year and has held all 3 SEC opponents under 200 yards passing. And they have a 4-3 touchdown to interception ratio. And this is definitely Joey Aguilar and Chris Brazel's toughest test. So my prediction in this game, I am going to take a smoke show, not by Alabama. I am going to pick Tennessee to win this football game. I said that Alabama was going to miss the playoff, and I'm not convinced that that's not going to happen yet. But you guys, though, we got so many games today, and we brought the kid on the show as well. Make sure that you like, subscribe, get notifications, tell a friend about the show. Peace out. We will catch you guys later.